Hey, how's it going? Today I am talking about building strength to heal your injury and to prevent other injuries. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone RunDisney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line. So, a couple of weeks ago, honestly, I don't know what episode it will end up being because I batch record these, to be completely honest. And I know a couple of weeks ago, a couple of episodes ago, I talked about the phases of a running journey. So today I'm talking about the build phase of the running journey specifically. And then I'm going to dabble in strength training during a little bit of the other phases. But go back and listen to the episode talking about running phases, phases of a running journey. Whoa, my goodness. Because that will give you an idea of what it is I'm talking about. There are different phases of a running journey. It's important to know what phase you're in so you know what to prioritize. And in the build phase of the running journey, that is strength building priority. Okay, that's why I call it the build phase, because you're building strength. So this is the optimal time for an injury-prone or a previously injured runner to work on strength training. I know you've heard it because I see it all the time. My clients tell me all the time that in order to heal my injury, my doctor said I need to be stronger. The people in the Facebook group told me I need to do strength exercises. That squats cured their knee pain. That heel raises cured their shin splints. Yes and no. Strength training does help injuries. What strength exercises don't do is they don't give pain relief in the current moment. Okay? Strength exercises are best used to long-term decrease pressure and stress on joints because your muscles are better able to support you. And then that way you can prevent future injury or prevent a current injury from getting worse. But the actual strength exercises, when you're in it, like when you're in the injury, when you have pain that's limiting you from running, yes, strength exercises are important, but they don't get rid of pain. Yes, maybe some movement makes you feel more comfortable in the moment, but the things that handle pain are pain management techniques. That could be pills, injections, heat, ice, elevation, massage, things like that to handle pain. Some stretching, because stretching can help alleviate pain, tightness, and soreness. But the strength exercises themselves, if you're really in the middle of pain and really in the depths of your injury, strength exercises at that time can and most likely will make you worse because 80% of running injuries are caused by overtraining, doing too much. And that could be too much running and or too much strength training because strength exercises and running are both in the loading category of loading or offloading of your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons. Okay, so those things can help build up your body. So for strength, it would be building up strength and hypertrophy in your muscles, running, building up endurance so that you can run long miles. If you do too many of those things, you can get hurt. And so then you need to offload a little bit if you're in it, okay? But in the build phase, we are talking about building up strength. So how do you do that? So if you're in the middle of training for a race, come back to this information in a couple of weeks. Send me a DM on Instagram, RunDisneyDPT, and let me know where you're having some trouble and I can direct you to the correct podcast to listen to. I definitely want you to listen to this one, but these techniques, what I'm talking about today is for somebody who's in the build phase. So they have a couple of months before they have to start training for their next race. They're not currently training for a race. They just raced recently, or they've recovered from an injury. They have 2, 3, maybe 4 months before training for their next race starts. Okay, so if you did Princess and you're not doing a race again until Disneyland Halloween, you'd be in the build phase right now. If you did Springtime Surprise and you're not doing a race until Wine and Dine, you could be in the build phase right now. If you did any race and aren't doing anything until Marathon Weekend, you could be in the build phase. If you're doing Goofy or Dopey or the Marathon, depending on when you're listening to this, you might not be in the build phase because that training could be 9 months long. My training plans, I think, are 7.5. But if you're starting from 0, that could be 9 months. So build phase is at least 2 months long, could be 4, 5, 6, heck, it could be a year long, depending on when your next race is. Some people take a whole year off and say, I'm just going to work on strength this year. I'm just going to work on whatever this year. And so if you're in the strength category, you would be in the build phase of your running journey. Your priority in the build phase is building strength, building muscle to help prevent future injury from happening. You're not tackling a current injury. If you're tackling a current injury, even if it is a couple of months before you're training for a race, you would be in the rest and recovery phase still. That strength exercise would look different. That would be more of a rehab type strength routine where you're doing high repetition, low weight, starting with maybe isometrics, moving into just your body weight, but laying down and then sitting up and then standing up and then adding some weights and then some functional exercises and then some running specific exercises. That's a progression of a rehab-based strength program. When you're in the build phase, you are not doing rehab specific exercises. If you are in the rest and recovery phase, that's fine. Rehab specific strength exercises are fine. It's just not what we're talking about today. So you can send me a DM, RunDisneyDPT on Instagram, and you can ask me about what podcast to listen to for that. May or may not be out yet, but if you ask me about it, that means I'm going to record it soon. Because I want you guys to have the podcast episodes that you want to listen to. So you DMing me and telling me what you want to listen to tells me what to record first. So anyway, build phase. So we are in runner-specific exercises for strength building to prevent injury. So a couple weeks ago, months ago, depending on when you're listening to this, I posted some strength exercises that all Run Disney runners should be able to do. Just pulled it up on my phone here so I can read them all out and not have to recall them. So 10 strength exercises every Run Disney runner should be able to do to run without getting injured. So there's only so much you can do in an Instagram caption. But what I mean by this is these are actually the exercises I test my clients with to see where we need to go on the strength training. So single leg step down, single leg heel raise, single leg bridges, side lying hip abduction, dead bug hold, prone flutter hold, single leg balance, double leg three-way heel raise, single leg RDL, and what else? And sit to stands or squats. So those are the exercises, the movements that I test my clients on, because it gives a global picture of where there's weakness. And there are specific amounts of how many you should be able to do on each of those. And so you can run through this list to know where you need some more work. Now, that doesn't mean that's the only work you do. It just means that you may need to spend a little extra time doing them. So if you want more information about how to check to see what is weak, send me a DM on Instagram, RunDisneyDPT, and I can send you over that checklist of what you need to be doing. So just ask me for the checklist for the 10 strength exercises. So once you know where to focus, you want your strength routine to be whole body. Now, all of those exercises, those are mainly leg and core, but running is a whole body activity. So you definitely need upper body as well, because you need to be in good posture to run effectively. You need your lungs to be able to go in and out to breathe effectively, and you need to do that with the least amount of accessory muscles working so that they can do other things. So you still want upper body stuff. So you want to make sure you hit all major muscle groups. So chest, upper back, shoulders in all directions, elbows in both directions, core in all directions, so backwards, forwards, sideways, twisting, hips in all directions, and your hips go in 6 directions, your knees in both directions, bending and straightening, your ankles in all directions, and your ankles go in 4 directions, feet for stability, being able to do exercises for your toes. You'll hear people say, oh, well, for plantar fasciitis, you need your arch stronger, so you need to do heel raises. Yes, and you need arch exercises. And the muscles that go to your arch, most of them, with the exception of one that I can think of off the top of my head, most of them are foot specific. So doing something at your ankle like heel raises doesn't really help your arch. Well, take that with a grain of salt, because yes, your posterior tibialis muscle also supports your arch, and doing heel raises helps that muscle. But it's not the only exercise to do. You have to do other ones for the smaller muscles. But you need this to be a whole body approach. You want to strength train in the build phase before you go and run. Your priority is strength building. So use your energy for that, and then whatever energy you have left, you can go and run. So the way I work it with my clients, because I want rest days to be rest days, not just non-running days, I have my clients strength train on running days. So strength training 3 days a week, or you're doing it on cross training days, your choice. I personally do it on running days. That just happens to be my preference. So in the build phase, I will go and do strength training first, and then I'll go out for a run. And so you do that to prioritize your energy. Make sure you have the most energy for the thing that is the priority. So your strength training. Strength training ideally is a total of 80 to 90 minutes each week. So that could be 3 30-minute sessions. It could be 2 40-minute sessions, 2 45-minute sessions, a 60 and a 30. Do what works for you. For me, if I make it too complicated, I'm just not going to do it. I personally don't like strength training. Strength training is important to do, so I do it, but I do the bare minimum. So I cover all my bases, but I do the bare minimum. So your strength training before you go out for a run, you want the exercises to be challenging so that the last 2 to 3 repetitions are challenging. You shouldn't be whizzing through all of these exercises. So if you're not sure how many to do, Start off lighter than you think. Start off with body weight and then progress from there. You don't want to go too much too soon, because if you're too sore, by the time you go to strength train the next time, you could be moving differently. That can cause injury. It can cause muscle cramping. You don't want that. So do the workout in the beginning, do a little less than you think you should, and then just progress from there. It's safe to progress by 5 pounds each leg each week, as long as the previous week felt fine. And it's safe to progress 2.5 pounds per arm per week, as long as the previous week felt fine. You can also progress by doing more repetitions if you don't have all of the extra weights. You can progress by doing slower movements. You can progress by adding a hold in the middle of it. There are many different ways to progress if you don't have all the equipment. I work out at home. I don't always have tons of equipment. You can also put the weights in bags. So let's say you have a pair of 5-pound dumbbells, a pair of 10-pound dumbbells, a pair of, I think, what do I have? 3-pound dumbbells, and then some ankle weights. Well, if you've surpassed the 10-pound, put 2 10-pounds in, 2 10-pounds and a 5, or 2 10-pounds and both 5s in a bag to do whatever exercise it is that you need more than 20 pounds for. That's just an example. Like deadlifts, that could be one where you're doing 10 pounds in each hand. Well, now you've surpassed that. Well, put both 10 pounds in the bag, and then it's safe to increase by 5 pounds each leg each week. So you could do the 2 5-pounders in the bag as well. That's one way. But make sure that you're doing it right. I work with my clients to make sure they have the right amount of weight, and I base that on that checklist that I talked about in the beginning, those 10 exercises that they should all be able to do. And I know, based on how many they can do, where they need to start and how quickly they should progress. So if you're not sure, you need a professional. This is exactly what I do with my clients all the time. I work on their strength exercises. I work on their training plans. I work on their recovery plans. I work on their fueling and nutrition plans. It's all 6 categories, also including shoes and equipment, rest and recovery techniques, pain relief techniques, stretching, the whole gamut. All 6 categories that I talk about make up a successful training plan. So if you aren't sure where to start and you don't want to get hurt, send me a DM or send me an email, and let's talk about how we can work together, because I want you to succeed. You want to succeed. Neither of us want you to get injured. And in this build phase, you're taking the time. You're building up your muscles leading up to the next time you need to train for a RunDisney race. Okay, so that's the build phase. You do want to do strength exercises in the training, not really the taper of the race, and you will do some strength exercises in the rest and recovery phase. So, but those won't be the priority of those phases. So it's going to look different. Instead of doing something heavy, you just maintain. So you keep going with your strength exercises, but you're not maxing out your workouts. You're not necessarily struggling on the last couple of reps. Maybe you are because you like that, but you may just want to be doing the bare minimum during those other phases. So during the train phase, because training is the priority, you're just getting it done. You're doing, some moderate intensity strength workouts because you're bringing it all on your training. And then in the rest and recovery phase, yes, you're still doing some strength exercises. Maybe they're more like rehab strength exercises, like I talked about in that different variety of isometrics, and then body weight, laying down, sitting, standing, adding some weights, functional and run specific exercises. Okay, strength exercises have different roles in the different phases. And again, you're not doing strength exercises during the taper of the race because you're wanting to really hold on to that energy so that you can release that energy on race day. As always, thanks so much for listening. If you have a question, send me a DM. You can find me on Instagram, RunDisneyDPT. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.